You're very welcome back to another podcast delivered to you by WeddingSuppliers.ie, where you can find Ireland's largest list of wedding venues and suppliers and plan your wedding end to end. Just visit WeddingSuppliers.ie. Today we are in the marvellous Station House, where I have a little bit of a connection with the Station House because I got married here myself. And we are with Caroline, who is the wedding manager. Caroline, how are you?
Hi, Cal, how are things?
Great, we've so much to talk about.
Loads.
Yeah, great. So the Station House, let's start with the history of the Station House. So we're as far back as you could possibly go, I suppose.
Well, I haven't been here for all of it, but the
Right.
Station House, it's an old railway. So
Yeah.
it was established here in 1864. So, you know, we are a listed protected property. So there's plenty of history back to 1864. Went through the eras, but the current owners, the last train that went through here was in 1963. And then the current owners are here since 1981.
Wow.
But throughout the property, you'll see kind of the features of that history that we have dotted around the
there
property.
actually was a railway line
Absolutely.
here.
Just outside the window here, the railway line ran by.
Hence the Station House, obviously.
It's the Station House,
Right.
yeah.
And you know, when I was engaged to be married, I hadn't heard of the Station House.
Yeah.
Okay, and my wife from Meath, not too far away, and it was her father that had suggested maybe go and have a look at the Station House. And we came over, and I won't tell you how many years ago that was, and it was just, we just fell in love with it straight away because, like, although you could say it's a kind of a boutique venue, it's not. You can like accommodate for good large numbers as well.
Absolutely.
You know?
And even since then, like the amount of change and refurbishments we have done over the time, we can cater for large numbers here as well. Yes, it's boutique in style. It's big enough that everybody has plenty of space around, but it's small enough to keep everybody together on the day of a wedding.
And like even being in the room here, I mean, for our viewers or for people that are listening to the podcast, to give a description, it's just one room and the bar is in the room, which is always a benefit to having the bar in the room, I find anyway.
Absolutely. Like there's a couple of aspects to the Station House here. We have what we call kind of the main house across the platform, and this is the Carriage Suite. So this was the maintenance dock of the trains.
Oh, right.
So everything happens in here for the evening part of your wedding. For your drinks reception, all happens over in the main house, and then you come over here for the duration then of the evening.
Can we talk about, sorry for jumping
Yeah, not at all.
Can we talk about I kind of want to jump to it. It's where the bride and groom or the couple stay for the night of their wedding. It's what?
So the signal box. So there's a couple of options in terms of where the couple stays. So we do have the Grand Master Suite, which is in the main building, and that was the living quarters of the station master at the time. And then I suppose one of the iconic buildings here at the Station House is the Signal Suite. Yeah. So the Signal Suite is the old signal box of the railway station. It's basically where the conductor had all the levers changing the rails, and like that it's one of the very unique features we have there, as described. Yeah. It's a two-storey, very intimate, quaint building with a lovely downstairs seating area and the bedroom in that upstairs. Yeah. One of the features that's still there is the original cast iron steps from the Midland Great Western Railway, and the cast iron steps are still on the interiors of the building. But it's a beautiful, and it's tucked down at the end of the conductor's garden.
Yeah, it's really
standalone. Yeah,
you know, like for couples, they need a bit of space sometimes as well, and you can just kind of roll down, and to kind of give a description, it's like a 10-second walk.
Absolutely.
From the main kind of ballroom or banqueting suite that we're in now, and then the other feature then is, which is amazing. I don't think it was there. Well, I think the infrastructure was there when I got married here. Yeah. But now with the crossover from kind of, I suppose, your traditional church wedding to civil ceremonies, is that you walk through the woods and it's just magical down there.
And I think you hit the nail on the head with the word magical, because it's the area you're referring to is the turntable. So the turntable it's a unique space. So and it's listed as well. So the turntable is the turning area where the trains used to turn and head back to Dublin. Right. So when you head down through the woodland area, you do have the railway bridge, which is still there as part of the aesthetics of the garden, which is still down there. And the trains used to come in under the railway bridge, turn in the turntable and head back to Dublin. And then you have the original platform running through the woodland area. But with the introduction of the civil ceremonies becoming so popular now, like I wouldn't even say every second wedding, a lot of the weddings are civil ceremony
Weather
based.
permitting, I suppose.
Weather permitting,
yeah, but still.
Because of the woodland area that we have,
Covered.
You get a lot of coverage of natural coverage down there because the foliage is so dense. That you have a beautiful path walkway. It's all lit up with the lights, and it's stepped down.
I'd
into
say it's
the
one of the
turntable.
biggest draw factors, apart from many others, for couples with the civil ceremony. And like with the way it's decked out with all the beautiful white chairs as well, and to think that trains used to come down there and just that whole narrative to it, that story to it. And then a lot of people then have their first dances down there.
Yeah,
right?
so because it's kind of sunken down, not sunken, it's stepped down into the turntable. So you have you can have a seated area for kind of civil ceremonies, and then you can have a kind of a gallery area for the raised chairs as well. Like that, what you say for the first time, it's a natural amphitheatre. So if you put an instrument, string or anything down there, the sound down there is amazing. Like you as a musician, first and foremost, the sound down there.
And I don't think there's any other
amazing.
real like venue that, just because it's like the great thing about doing these podcasts is every venue has something different to offer. And I think that part of your offering there, like just for couples to have that and have that experience with their guests, their first dance outside, the civil ceremony down there as well.
Oh, it's beautiful.
You know?
And like that with the first dance, because with any wedding or that, there's kind of different aspects to the day. With the first dance downside, those beautiful kind of outdoor shots you get with sparklers, it's all lit with candlelit down there. So it does create that very romantic feeling down there, and it's a different aspect to that of the day. So if you go down there late at night, people are drawn down to the area. So it's really, really beautiful.
And then the other side of it is that, there's always that kind of time when a couple between, the speeches conclude and then there's the first dance where the band come in to set up.
Absolutely.
If everyone's shifted out there, the band can come in and get the room turned around very quickly, which you do here all the time. First dance and everybody's back down and you're ready to go.
Absolutely. And it's at the discretion of the couple. It's not something that, this is just an alternative that we provide.
Would most couples go for it?
A lot do.
A
lot do. Like, it is very, very popular to do that.
And just then with the room itself then, what would be the kind of minimum requirement on guests, and what would you say would be a comfortable seated number? Yeah,
so we do everything here from 60 guests here in the Carriage Suite, but we also do an intimate wedding offering, which we have in our beautiful Signal restaurant as well. Where you can do very intimate kind of private weddings in the restaurant with a capacity, about 30 guests. In here, anything from kind of 60 guests, we can work different configurations to suit the room and that. And then anything up to about 180 guests you can do.
180, which in fairness, most standard kind of weddings now isn't, it moves probably from 100 to around 150, 160 as well. And I actually forgot about the restaurant part, because for intimate weddings and even for other kind of events as well, and I know that food is an important, the whole cliche, the music and the food, right? And some people get it right and some people get it great and some people get it wrong or whatever. But for the station house, I know that's the food part of it. So
food is very focused. On top of the agenda here. You can go in anywhere with a beautiful space and that, but food is a priority here. And even with couples kind of coming in, I'll say there's three things people remember about the day: food, the entertainment, and the weather. Anything else nearly comes kind of secondary to that. But it's one thing that kind of hand on our heart. We hold different evenings and that here. Local produce is very, very important. And on kind of the back of that, different events that we do outside of weddings. Like we've one actually coming up tomorrow night. We have a lovely kind of Boyne Valley tasting evening. And what the chef does is create a bespoke menu with all the produce from the Boyne Valley region. And they do a lovely wine pairing on that as well. So food is imperative. Like we've different kind of suppliers that we would use locally. we've Swainstown Farm and that up the road, that we try and use as much local as possible.
And that's an important part, and keeping and even for employment and staff and like for those listening or watching again, like the station house is based in Kilmessan here, so that's an important part for the community as well.
Absolutely.
That there's people, you're employing people, and then bringing in that local produce. And how does the chef kind of work with the demands of the couples on the menu? Can you create bespoke menus, or would you say, look, here's kind of 3 or 4 different plans?
Yeah, so there are different options in terms of the menu. We provide a lovely menu tasting here for all of our couples, complimentary to the couples of the evening, where they come in and they taste everything on the wedding menu that we would provide.
Do you ever get any like people pretending they're getting married?
You have to be booked, Carl.
Listen,
once you confirm your wedding,
once you're confirmed. So you bring them in, and that's lovely. So they can have a little feel.
Come in and they have I nearly call it it's like a date night before the wedding. They come in, they do a menu tasting. You taste the wines as well. Our sommelier here on site will go through our wines. And then they can stay overnight as well. So we have selected dates throughout the year that we would do this with our couples. But like what you're saying, like we do have a wedding menu. However, if couples come in and say, well, we would like this and this and this, or they have, maybe a different background, that to create special dishes for them, because you're finding that back to your typical. They're exactly. People are kind of stemming away from that. They've travelled. Maybe their partner is from abroad, and they want to incorporate different menus. Yeah. Yes, we'll definitely look at it and see if it's something that we can do and work with the couple to that. But we do have a set menu that there are 9 different main course options and that. So there's kind of easier
because in the whirlwind of planning a wedding, trying to and I suppose for your job, that's to kind of give a bit of guidance to help, because we're all novices. We're getting married for the first time, and hopefully not the second time, or third time, or fourth time, or fifth time, right?
We do all types of weddings, so it doesn't matter how many times it is.
Right, and then, so obviously with the civil ceremony, that's amazing out there. For prep rooms and stuff, then for the bride or the bridal party, the event of getting the makeup and stuff. Do you have certain rooms where they can come and prep?
Yeah, there's lovely areas here throughout the property. We have the lovely kind of library space that we use here in the main building and that. And then some of the other suites that we have, which is the Grand Master Suite, which has a beautiful kind of arched window, which is fantastic for photographs and that just before kind of the ceremony. And it's not limited to ceremonies that are on site. We have couples that would arrive here and maybe go off to the church and then come back again and that. So it's not just specific for civil ceremonies on site, but there are different areas throughout the property that we can facilitate that,
And obviously in the last couple of years, to kind of look at, if you want to kind of, and I hate using that word, kind of rebranding, or even, it's not even a refurbishment, but the station house kind of took a different direction.
Absolutely.
Didn't it?
Absolutely. Still the same family on site. So you have...
and it's important that we touch off that it's a family-run business. That's always great, isn't it? And so they're here since the 80s.
1981 is when the family had it here. So the purchased the property. Chris and Thelma have, and still are involved in the, and then Suzanne and Denise are the next generation of the Slattery family that have the station house here.
And you think then the next generation can just bring a new kind of idea to where it needs to go next? Because as you see, like your grounds now, and you can see that there has been a lot of investment.
Absolutely. Huge amount. And it's all about properties are, are buildings, but it's all about the team that you have on board. And it's very much about kind of the team and the people that you have kind of working with you and for you. But the people that do work here, a lot of us feel part of the family that are here. Like there's some of our chefs, there's one of our chefs in the kitchen, our pastry chef, she's here, I think 28, nearly 30 years here, and the housekeepers here in 20,
chefs don't stay for 20 years, right?
Yeah, so there are a number of staff here that are 20 plus
and
years
you did
here
say
on
that
site,
because you guys won a couple of, you have a good few awards, haven't you? Of all different types.
Yeah.
And I know that one of the awards you'd won at the National Industry Awards with WeddingSuppliers.ie, it was something that you echoed in the little vox pop about the team, the spirit.
Yeah.
And we always kind of keep coming back to that. And even from my own perspective is people that walk into a room can sense that energy of good staff and smile and positivity. And there's nothing worse than walking into a room, there's someone you feel a drewnness or something to it.
Exactly.
And definitely the station house, you always get that kind of positivity
that's
and energy.
good.
No, but you do. I wouldn't say it. And it's so hard. I think you do hear people talking now about, the service. And although beautiful buildings and like what you just said, if the service isn't wrong, it's just, there's nothing more frustrating for people.
Absolutely. Like your wedding, when couples come in, your wedding is all about a feeling.
Yeah.
Right. And a feeling and a sense of warmth is not something that can be created by four walls.
Yeah.
That's all about the team and the people that are here. So when you come in and you get a good feeling about something, and I say it to brides all the time, you'll get the same feeling when you put on that dress and it's the right one. That's the feeling you should get when you come into a venue.
And it's not hard to orchestrate that. That just kind of has to happen naturally, but with good orchestration from
absolutely,
the team.
It's and like that, it's the people that'll make that, because if everything that we instill in the staff here is the energy that it's not just another day. Yeah. It's a very special day for the couples, and probably one of the most important days of their life.
No, they have to feel that sense of trust
and enthusiasm and warmth, and it has to be natural.
Yeah.
And that kind of goes through the whole line, and not just from the team that are here selling your wedding. It goes through the whole team that are
from end to end, and like when couples just want that from the first point of contact. So the whole question, I always ask this question in the podcast about speeches. Yeah. And where do you think speeches should be in the timeline of the day now?
Honestly, left out.
Say nothing. Because we're getting a few different kind of responses from different venues.
We have a couple of different options here, and it kind of, nearly kind of organically grew from that. So we have a beautiful kind of platform terrace. So our platform terrace is fully covered, it's fully heated, so it's a usable space all year round. Yeah. Like that, even though with the civil ceremonies, like we've done civil ceremonies out there right till like the 31st of December every year. And we have a different kind of dynamic take on that. So with the platform terrace and that, it changes its kind of styling throughout the months, and that going from your kind of summer vibe, which we have now, to the kind of more winter vibe with our sheepskin rugs and that throughout the kind of winter months. Yeah. So you can use that space all year round. However, what we've kind of introduced it as part of towards the end of your drinks reception, as an area for speeches, keeping them kind of informal, casual, that guests are not feel that they're tied to a chair and that they can't move. During the I think people are moving away from that kind of traditional element. Yeah. So we do kind of encourage it to kind of have that speeches, drinks, reception vibe, very kind of casual, getting the point across, but it keeps them to a certain duration. Very chilled and nice,
And this is the thing, this is what I'm hearing more and more from venues, that they're kind of encouraging. Yeah. And I think like if you reflect on it, it's the perfect time. Yeah. And maybe you can have a speech later on.
Absolutely, after dinner. After dinner. But they still have that option of doing that. A lot of it boils down to, because who's giving the main speech is the groom and the best man. Yeah. How comfortable they are with giving a speech. If it's something that's going to affect them, their meal, or they're not going to eat, definitely do it beforehand. But then there are people that are so comfortable speaking. They say, no, we'll leave it till after. We'll have it after the meal. That's perfectly fine as well.
You're only going to try and steer and advise.
Absolutely. We advise them of the different options, and then it's down to the couple then on what choice that they have there,
So, by the way, on the grounds look amazing. So for photographs, you're spotted up here with the woods. And is there any kind of iconic spot that photographers tend to like to bring their couples here?
Well, there's different areas in the grounds as well. People kind of choose the front of the kind of signal area down to the signal box as well. Down through the, it's on 12 acres of manicured and woodland.
I didn't realise that. Okay, right.
So with that, you kind of have the kind of rustic forest feel in the woodland setting, and then you have the more manicured gardens then over towards the railway bridge.
So plenty of choice.
Plenty of choice. We have sunset photos as well through the meadows out the back. There's a lovely opening there where couples can go out to get their sunset photos. So there's plenty of areas there as well, you know.
And if I ask you, and I hope I'm not putting you on the spot, what would be your key piece of advice for any couple in the journey of, say, even post-booking the station house or just in the run-up to their wedding in general?
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes these answers are obvious enough, but they have to be echoed as often as possible. But like you're dealing with couples all the time. What do you see,
you know,
jumping out at you that becomes a problem for them, I suppose?
Yeah.
Is the question.
A lot of it is trust in your vendors as well. You know, so with couples, they're coming in and they're booking it for the first time.
Yeah.
So likewise with, you know, not just the venue, the band, the hair, the makeup, the musicians. This is what they do.
Yeah.
You know, so if you're try and not get stressed about your day.
Yeah, it is hard.
It's very hard because you want everything to go so perfectly and nice. But the more kind of chilled a couple is, it just kind of flows. But trust that the people that you have instilled to make your day work will make it happen.
And you're so right. And you see it and I see it.
Yeah.
Couples that, if you see the stress level, and I think it's an important message as well, even for vendors and venues to say, look, you know, this will all happen. And the more stress you bring to the table, the worse it'll be on you and then everybody else.
Without a doubt. And as you touched on it there, like we have won awards. You know, there are plenty of awards, and it's not just within the wedding industry. Like even with ourselves, you know, we were very, you know, proud of the fact that kind of last year we got into the prestigious Blue Book, which that's a big deal for us. Yeah,
wow,
so that's just kind of 68 hotels in Ireland. You know, so you have the Blue Book feature. We had the Gold Medal Awards.
Yeah, that's a big award to get.
Absolutely. So in two areas, last year we got the small weddings venue Gold Medal Award, and then we got the Country House and Guest Experience Award, with this year also getting a silver medal for the Small Weddings Award as well, you know.
So room in there.
I don't know, Carl, you know. There's a few more, you know.
Awards.
Even wedding suppliers, like this is the third year for boutique wedding venue of the year.
and the thing, and logistically as well, I know like venues across all of Ireland, but logistically you're kind of in that proximity of the greater Leinster area, and that makes a massissive difference for.
Oh, do you know what? We are so lucky what we have on our doorstep here. In terms of the offering, and there's so many venues around, but with that brings excellent suppliers, like at our doorstep. True. And we have excellent suppliers on your doorstep. Yeah. So you don't have to go looking, huge distances to get those good suppliers.
And then with all the other venues, because Meath, when you actually step back and look at all the venues, it kind of brings everybody's A game to a level.
Absolutely. And like everyone works with each other, you know, and that there's
a great community,
great community spirit about the area. And it's lovely. And you know, you just kind of feel lucky to be part of that. Yeah.
Well, look, on that note, Caroline, thanks very much for having us here to feature the beautiful station house.
Thanks for coming here.
Shake hands.